The classic psychological understanding of hate is that it stems from an us and them perspective or worldview. We have in groups and we have out groups. Inherently speaking, when we're born, we don't have any hate in us. We're not born hating. We learn to hate. But what we do have in us is a preference for people like us, whatever us might be. Now, us can be anything. It can be white, black, male, female, heterosexual, homosexual. What us is a social construction of what your family is at the moment in time. And that innate preference for people like us, which is an evolutionary trait that was designed to keep us safe in the groups within which we were born, is not necessarily a bad thing. It does create a great environment for deep cooperation within your in-group, which means you're more successful at certain endeavors in life as a group. If that was back in hunter-gatherer times, you were incredibly more successful if you had great cooperation in your in-group at hunting and gathering, for example. That preference for us on its own is not nefarious. It's not a bad thing. It can, though, be weaponized, and it can change into the detriment of them, or the discrimination against them, whoever them may be. And that is something that's learned. So that is something that we learn through socialization from our parents. It's something we learn from our peers in the school playground. It's something we're taught and told by the media. So if we're growing up in an all-white family, for example, and around all-white peers that have a negative attitude towards, say, black individuals, and if that's reinforced from childhood, all the way through from your parents, all the way through school, and the media is also biased towards black individuals, that preference for us can turn into a derogation of them. But that's learned from culture and society and socialization. At the extreme end, that can be weaponized even further into hateful violence by hateful subcultures. So that would be sort of extremist subcultures, far-right subcultures in this example, whereby individuals' frustrations stemming from their own failures in their lives are projected onto a group of them, whoever them may be. Inappropriately, we end up blaming them for all the ills in society, for all the things that have gone wrong with us and all the things that have gone wrong in our community. We scapegoat them, and the more we tell each other these stories in the pubs, in the homes, over dinner, etc., the more ingrained it becomes, and the more we believe it to be fact. But the truth of the matter is not their fault at all. They're just convenient scapegoats for the frustrations we might be feeling at any one point in time. Now, how social media makes all that worse is because it fosters contact. It claims it fosters contact between in-groups and out-groups, but that contact is rarely positive contact. Now, if it was positive contact on social media, we'd actually see a reduction in intolerance and a reduction in hate. But if you have negative contact that reinforces negative stereotypes between your group and whatever other group there is out there that's in opposition to you, then ultimately things get worse. You are more likely to engage in hate speech against them because your negative stereotypes are being reinforced by what you're seeing and hearing from your in-group, in your own echo chamber, your own bubble, and you only end up seeing the bad things in relation to the other group on social media. You never get to burst your own filter bubble to see what it's like on the other side, if you see what I mean. So social media makes the us and theming more extreme. It's 24/7 as well. You can't turn social media off. You always log in at any point in time. There's very rarely downtime. There's always a tweet there or always a Facebook post there waiting for you to read. And the more extreme it is, the more likely you are to engage, etc. And the internet also has this strange characteristic that makes individuals more disinhibited. A bit like when you're drunk. I guess. So when you drink alcohol, you become disinhibited. You say things you might otherwise not say in a sober state. The internet, because of the perceived distance between yourself and the people you're talking to, and because of the perception that the police don't do anything if you do something bad online, and the chances of you being caught are minimal, which is still the case, that frees up individuals to say things that they probably wouldn't say in the street or around the dinner table. They're more likely to express hateful sentiment. They're more likely to become irate and more emotional on social media than they would do offline, if you like. So there are several things going on there. There's greater us and theming because the in-group and the out-group seem more further apart on social media. And it's a wholly disinhibiting environment. We feel much more free to express our emotions on social media because we don't think there's going to be any consequence.